This video is about the reading and writing of records. There are times when you have a problem that has so much text data and it has so much numeric data that you won't want to have to re-enter it every time you want to work on that problem. So you store the data in a record. Here we have an example of a file definition for a file called data records, followed by the last record number it read or wrote, followed by the number of text characters in the record. Here it says 26, followed by the number of values in the record. Here it says 10. Well, the text data for the record will always be given immediately after the file definition. This file definition is 30 characters long, and immediately after it, it shows you the text characters that are in that record. Below here, it's asking what record number you want to read, and it says number 1. We'll change it to number 2. These records have all been filled with text characters that show which record it is, up to record number 9. There is record number 9. Now we're going to go to the routine that is doing this on the screen. I'm going to click here on Program. Here is the routine that was first writing the records 1 through 9, and then down here you could request them one record at a time and it would show you the data. Well, it starts out for R of 1 to next R9 one at a time. This is where it's going to write the 9 records. Well, each record has a data area, and we know that that data area is 30 characters beyond where the file definition is. And down here when it writes it, it refers to the file definition at being at page B, offset 390. 30 away from there is page B, offset 420. Well, that's where the text is going to be. Well, here it says fill the 26 characters at page B plus 420 with the ASCII character 48 plus R. Well, when it's record number 1, that'll be 49, and a 49 is ASCII character for 1. So there's 26 ASCII 1s placed immediately after the file definition, which is at page B plus 390. Well, here's where it's going to write each one. Here's the record number R. I'm going to click on that line so we can understand what it's doing. It's a write. It's going to write a record. Then next is the record number, which is in register R. Next are the values that it's going to save. We're not particularly interested in that, so I didn't bother filling it with zeros or anything. I'm just going to say its 10 values are going to be saved in value list or read into value list. Here we have page B, offset 390, is where the definition of the file is. Well, if we click here on the 390, it'll go to page B at offset 390. Here is page B. It says there, page B, and we're at offset 390 is where the yellow cursor is. And there it says data record. Then here it says it's record number 9. It says there's 26 text characters and 10 values. And right here immediately after it, since it's record number 9, are the 26 characters of 9. Alright, we're going to end that. And we're going to quit that. So here is where it created the 9 records. Then it sets the font to bold 14 point, color to black, and XY position. And here's where it boxes the number, asking you what record number you want to read, and it puts the value in register U. Then here it checks to make sure that that is If it's less than 1, it makes it 1. If it's less than 10, though, then it goes down here to BD. So it's just checking to make sure U is between 1 and 9. Then it comes down here and it says, I'm going to read record U. I'm going to put the values it has into this list called value. And here is the file definition at page B390. Next, it sets X to 150, puts the text, the 26 text characters, which we know are 30 characters away from page B390. They're at page B420, and they're the 26 nines that are in the record. Then it sets X and Y to different values, and it puts on there the file definition. All right, we'll go back to the beginning, we'll execute it. And so we see here, when you say record number 9, it shows you the text for record number 9. So the records are written to save the data for particular problems you have. It'll save so much text data and so much numeric data. Now we're going to look at a program, linear file, which uses records to save the data. It has a certain amount of text data, for here is the name of the particular problem. And below that, well, it tells it how many items are in the problem, what the part count is in the problem, the prices, and all the equations needed to solve the problem, and the on-hand quantities. All this can be saved in a record, so that later on you can call it back and work on it again or change some of its values. You don't have to re-enter them all again. Well, let's go to the program that works on this. Here's the program. This is the routine that says it will read the files from the local storage area. And here it starts out. It sets the value of R, which is going to be used for the record number, to 1. Then it says read record number 1. Put the values here under file values. And here's where you're going to find the definition for the file at page C. Immediately after that, it says branch if not equal the first file value with 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's not equal to that, it wants us to go to AG. Well, every record that it writes, it puts this 1, 2, 3, 4 in front of it. So if it doesn't find that, it says, you never created this file. So it goes to AG down here and creates the file. But if it finds 1, 2, 3, 4, it says, well, you've done this before. So now I can get you the data for the particular problem you're doing. It sets G to the number of the file, then it multiplies it by 20, then it moves the 20 characters from page C plus 30. Remember, it has to go advance 30 to get to the text data, because at page C is the file definition. Here it's going 30 past that and getting the name of this particular problem. I must tell you that in this case, there's really only one record for this linear programming. It saves all the data for all the problems. I believe it has 20 problems in the same record. So this says the name, though, for this particular problem is 20 characters long, and it's 20 times the number of the problem past the beginning of text. And the text is where? It's at page C plus 30. Then again, it sets G to the file number and multiplies G by 225, because there's 225 values it saves for every one of the problems. So it needs to know, well, where is that offset? It puts it in G. And remember, it puts all the values in file values, and here at offset G is the 225 for the particular problem he's working on, the Gth one. And then it sets the item count to the file data. Notice it was moved to file data. Now it can use the file data to get all the other values that it needs, the on hand, the requirements, and so forth. So we'll skip down to here where it went to AG because the file had never been created. We know that because when it went to read the file and look for the values that it had in it, it said it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, so therefore it was never made. So it comes down here, sets J to 0, and then it says for I of 1 to 20, it's going to build the values for each one. Remember, there's 225 values in each problem, but here it's going to get them from list B. That's a sample problem. So when you first start out, it's going to put this sample problem in every position for all 20 of the possible problems. And then when it gets all that data together, it writes them to where? To record number 1 again, because this guy only has one record. But in this case, instead of having a separate record for every one of the problems, all the data was put in one record at offsets within that record. Now I've advanced to the other routine for reading and writing, and that's the one write to local storage when the save is clicked. In other words, when you want to save the data for your problem, there's an area where you click, and then it'll come here and save it. Well, if you remember, this one record has all the data for 20 problems in it. So the first thing it does here is it sets G to the file number we're working on, and then it multiplies it by 20, and all this is to move that stuff. First you have to see, remember here it's setting file data to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll know that yes, we did do this file before. And it goes through moving in the prices, the on hand, the requirements, and uses the file number again to set the numeric data at offset G. That's for this particular problem. And then down here it writes it. So while you're working on this problem, you may want to click Save, and let's go execute it. Here is a big button that you click, solve it, and save it. Then you could make more changes to it, solve it, and save it again. So you know you can always go back to it because you saved it. Alright, this is the end of the video on the reading and writing of records.